Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I ask permission to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I wish I had something profound to say today, and I don't. But today is January 15th, and it's a somber day and a day of concern for millions of Americans and hundreds of millions of people throughout this planet, so I think it's maybe right that I share a little bit of my views. Let me begin by saying that I think we all agree in this body and throughout this country and throughout virtually the entire world that Saddam Hussein is an evil person, and what he has done in Kuwait has been illegal, immoral, and brutal. It seems to me, however, that the challenge of our time is not simply to begin a war which will result in the deaths of tens and tens of thousands of people, young Americans, innocent women and children in Iraq, but the real challenge of our time is to see how you can stop aggression, how you can stop evil in a new way, in a nonviolent way. And if ever there has been a time in the history of the world when the entire world is united against one small country, this is that time. And it seems to me a terrible failing and very ominous for the future if we cannot resolve this crisis, if we cannot defeat Saddam Hussein in a nonviolent way. If we are not successful now, then I think all that this world has to look forward to in the future for our children is war and more war and more war. There is an enormous responsibility on President Bush's shoulders, and to a large degree this body, the United States Congress, has for the last 5 months abdicated its responsibility. The world 5 months ago was rejoicing because after 45 years the Cold War was finally over. The hatred that existed between the two superpowers had finally ended. And all over the world, people were saying, thank God we can now put down the weapons, we can reduce military spending, we can begin to address the enormous social problems facing our nation. 2 million people sleeping out on the street, a health care system which is disintegrating, an educational system which is failing, a nation in which our manufacturing base is declining, serious problems with the environment. Today, 30,000 children starved to death in the third world, and all over the planet, people were saying, finally now we can begin to address those problems, deal with the need for helping the Eastern European countries that are becoming democratic. There is rejoicing. And then suddenly, once more, we heard that as soon as we took the deep breath that the Cold War is over, there is another war upon us. And I want to say to President Bush that I know as someone involved in politics, we're all involved in politics, that it's not too late to change one's mind. This is too important an issue to just go forward because of pronouncements made yesterday and in the last 4 months. The world looks to the President. He can play an historic role in leading us to solve this crisis in a nonviolent way. Mr. Speaker, one of the issues that has concerned me and I think millions of Americans is as we look at this crisis, we look at who our allies are. We have talked about the grand coalition. Let's stop for a moment and look at who our allies are. Egypt is our ally. It cost us $7 billion in debt forgiveness to bring them into the alliance. That is not a very strong or trustworthy ally. Saudi Arabia is our ally. Saudi Arabia is a feudalistic monarchy. It does not believe in democracy. It does not believe in the slightest degree in women's rights. Is that an ally that we feel comfortable with? Kuwait, while it was a terrible thing that that government be overthrown, the government of Kuwait is a feudalistic monarchy. Syria, what does it mean to all of us? What does it mean to the children of this country when they see the President of the United States sitting down on a couch with Mr. Assad of Syria when this government today believes quite correctly that Mr. Assad and Syria is a terrorist nation? Are those the allies that we're proud of? How do we explain to the fourth grade children in this country that where 6 months ago Syria was regarded as a terrorist nation, today it is our ally? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Annunzio of Illinois for 5 minutes. Mr. Mazzoli for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes.